Hey guys, today is May 16th and just put out a new blog post here for some things that you should be considering before you switch to a new oil and gas system. A little bit of context before I dive in. My name's Harrison. I'm the founder and CEO of a software company called Joltly. We are an accounts payable system for the oil and gas industry. Because of that, I work with a lot of the oil and gas accounting systems. So I've gotten familiar with what's good, what's bad. In this video, I'm not going to dive into the specifics of the specific systems, but what I am going to do is talk about general things that you really need to be thinking about as you're talking with these different providers. So the first thing that should be a no-brainer, but in my experience, also as an operator, one of the things that I've run into is like sometimes the software just doesn't work. There's been vendors that we've tried, used, and paid for, and it wasn't until we got into the details of like actually what we wanted out of the product that we realized, oh crap, like this sucks. Like this is a terrible user experience. It doesn't work. And so some ways that you can mitigate that. What I wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have gotten really specific on the workflows we needed and like had it very written down and written out in terms of, hey, here's what we need the product to do. Can you do this? And then have some sort of contractual agreement saying, hey, like this is the performance we need to use your product. The other thing that is more important now than I would say maybe 10 years ago is user experience and design. A lot of the products in oil and gas look like they were written in the 1980s, and if it looks like it means they probably were, is what I've come to find. And so with that, one of the things that is really important is just, do you like using the product? Because if it's difficult to use, that means you're going to spend more time on G&A, you're going to spend more time on trading, you're going to spend more time getting up and going on the product. And then as people come and go from your company, it's going to be more maintenance to get that product working. The other piece that, in my opinion, this was the most important thing for me, as I've looked at different accounting systems that our operations company works with, and that is that it integrates with outside products. If you look outside of the oil and gas industry, you have products like Quorum, QuickBooks, Sage, SAP, all of those companies, they're going to integrate with outside software. They're going to have robust APIs. The bigger enterprise ones are going to require more custom builds. But if you even look at like QuickBooks, like they let you talk with other systems. In the oil and gas industry, that is not a guarantee at all. And so that's something you have to get really specific with as you're talking to your vendors. You need to ask them about their APIs. You need to ask what integrations they have built out. And then if there's the ability for other companies to build APIs, I would look at different products. So for example, I'm the founder of Joltly. And so an example is we work with Quorum Software is one that we work with that has APIs where we can communicate back and forth with the software, because Quorum does offer those APIs that are available. I know other companies like W Energy also are working on having APIs like that. And so those are things that I would be looking for, is know the product stack that you want to use outside of the accounting system, and then make sure that that's pushing back and forth. Something that I've been frustrated with the industry itself is pricing. I found that oftentimes the pricing is very backdoor. You don't know what you're getting. It's just like this black box. So what I've done at Joltly is, if you just go to our website, our pricing is there. It's volume based. You can see how much you'll be paying per month based on how much invoices you're pushing back and forth. Now, with these other providers, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you're getting quotes from multiple vendors. And so if you're talking with one company, make sure you go and talk to the other one. Get a quote from both and kind of play off them to get the best price. Also make sure you're asking about if they charge based on volume, making sure they charge, or if they charge per head using the product. And I would also make sure that the product works for you today, but also if you guys scale your team, if you go from 10 to 50 employees, that it's still going to work for you and it's still going to make sense. And the last thing is, switching cost is oftentimes more expensive than actually switching to the new system itself. I mean, it could cost you 3 years worth of software fees before you cover the amount of money it costs to switch from one system to the other. And that's why I see a lot of operators on these legacy products, just because they don't want to go through the headache of the switching costs, which I understand. But what I would be thinking about and considering is making sure that you do due diligence on the company itself. And so look at the background of the company, and it actually wouldn't be terribly unwise to go look at their fundraising. So go look, are they backed by private equity? Are they backed by venture? And those things aren't necessarily good and bad, but they will tell you a little bit about the ethos of the company and what their goal is. Is their goal to grow? Is management's goal to grow? Is management's goal just to milk as much money out of this thing as possible? And from a user perspective, that means they're less likely to invest in the product, create a better product experience, and they're just trying to get everything they can out of it. And so I would do due diligence on the company itself. Like, don't just rely on the sales rep. I would go to Crunchbase. I would go to, if you have access to PitchBook, and you can look up these companies, see what their fundraising is like, see what their growth strategy is like, see what their headcount is over the last 10 years, and see if it's kind of stayed the same or if it's grown. And that will tell you if the company, the direction they're going and their innovation and kind of how they view software in general. And so I just wanted to share some thoughts on how I go about buying software, and that could be helpful for you guys too. Like I said, this is also a shameless plug for Joltly. I'm the founder and CEO of that company. I work with a lot of these accounting systems. So we are not an accounting system, but we do integrate with the accounting systems. We use AI to process revenue statements and accounts payable statements. So let me know if you have any questions. There's a Calendly link here in this blog that you can sign up to and just ask me. I'm happy to answer questions about accounting generally or specifically accounts payable and revenue and how we can automate that for you.